Hello, and welcome to this segment of the DC Statehood Today show. I'm Theodora Brown, your host. And with me in the studio today, we have Hector Rodriguez. Hello, Hector, and welcome.
Hi, Theodora.
Thank you for coming today. So, Hector, I looked at your bio, and you have a long and storied history with the statehood that started with the Committee to Support DC Home Rule Charter. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, those are very exciting days, Theodora, because we had not had a chance to even vote for our mayor and city council in the city. And at that time, I was a very young revolutionary, you might say. And I was highly idealistic and very involved with the Latino community. And when the movement started for home rule, and so I got engaged with Carlos Rosario, one of our local leaders at that time, and I was named vice chairman along with Carlos of the committee to support the home rule charter. And by the way, that committee also supported the ANC commissions. And so the election that allowed for our home rule charter also allowed the people to vote for our ANC commissions.
And what year was that? Do you
That was
recall?
in 1974.
And so that sort of began the process for us to vote for the mayor and the city council. So what did you do after that?
Well, I got very involved with the political side of Washington, D.C., and I was concerned that we did not have a Latino in the city council. And so I got very engaged with the community and worked across all sectors, not just the Latino community, and developed a coalition. And I got engaged in running for the city council as a goal, a life goal. And so the involvement that I had with the home rule charter allowed me to meet a lot of leaders. Of course, the mayor, Marion Barry was involved, Mr. Duncan was involved, all kind of illustrious leaders of that time. And so that added, a lot of energy to the city. And the city, I think, after we got a chance for home rule, I think a lot of people got engaged and very aware of the need that we didn't have full voting representation.
Right, and so after your foray into the whole political thing and running for public office, did you do anything of significance after that? Founding organizations, or
Yes.
things of the sort?
One of the things I worked in Project Pride, for example, to get youth trained for jobs in the Latino community. I worked to establish the Office of Latino Affairs, which was called the Office of Spanish-Speaking Affairs, and I wrote the proposal and presented it to the City Council as the Office of Spanish-Speaking Affairs, and later it became the Office of Latino Affairs. So I was very engaged in empowering the Latino community and also engaged in ensuring that our community reached across to Anacostia and to other communities so that we were not isolated, so that we were able to communicate with other sections of Washington, D.C.
And did you get an opportunity to offer testimony before the congressional committees or things of that sort to talk about home rule for D.C.?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I got the attention of some people and my enthusiasm for full voting representation, and I was asked to testify before the U.S. Senate Committee and the Judiciary Committee. And at that time, Theodora, there were a lot of people in the district who wanted to get to the Congress and let them know about our concern. And we found that opportunity, and I was invited to provide testimony. And one of the things that came out was that as a veteran, because when I came to Washington, D.C., I came as a United States Army captain, not retired, but I finished my service here. And I was so concerned because when I was in the military, I could vote absentee for my congressmen and senators. And when I moved into the very centrum of democracy, I was denied a vote. And that perplexed me, that angered me, it concerned me, so I got very involved. And when I was asked to testify before the Senate, I went there with a lot of gusto and enthusiasm. And at that time, too, I organized the National Hispanic Committee for full voting representation for the United States. And that committee allowed us to have coordinators in about 30 states. We had actually coordinators in 30 states that were fighting for us for the full vote. And so I represented that committee in my testimony before the Senate.
Great. So fast forward to the last 5 years. Tell me what you've been working on the last 5 years.
The last 5 years have been just incredible because a lot of very dynamic people are involved in the movement. In 1981, our city had a convention, and the people of the District of Columbia voted for statehood and for New Columbia. And that gave us, the right as citizens to, manifest our objective and our destiny, and that was to get statehood. We found out that that statehood is the only way that our people are going to get our full representation in the Congress of the United States. When we worked to get in 1978, we took the movement to see if we could get the legislatures to pass a constitutional amendment.
You mean the various state legislatures?
Yes, the state legislatures. So I used my national committee, Latino committee, to work with the elected legislative officials in the states, the Latinos, to support us. And that's what's one of the functions of that committee. So that was very important to get engaged statehood-wide through the different states. When we passed on the ballot that we approved the referendum for statehood, and then that changed the whole picture, because we found out when we went for statehood at the legislatures, 2/3 were required, and even Senator Kennedy was supporting us, Congressman Font-Reynolds. We found out that we weren't fully organized yet. We weren't ready. The American people, weren't ready either. So only 11 states approved it. We had to get 2/3 of the state legislatures to approve it. So we finally learned, after our struggles, that it's statehood that gives us the bona fide right that they can't take from us for our representation in the Congress of the United States.
And on that note, I want to thank you, Hector Rodriguez, for joining me in the studio today to talk about statehood, and you've just been a wonderful guest in terms of the history of this whole movement as well. Thank you for your efforts here.
Well, thank you, Theodora.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Theodora Brown, your host for DC Statehood Today. We'll see you next time.